This Colorado Springs father destroys the critical race theory argument in this awesome inspirational speech. You can check it out here.
I am the direct descendant of the North American slave trade. Both my parents are black, all 4 of my grandparents are black, all 8 of my great-grandparents, all 16 of my great-greats. On my mother's side, my ancestors were enslaved in Alabama. On my father's side, we were enslaved in Texas. I am not oppressed. I'm not oppressed, and I'm not a victim. I'm neither oppressed nor a victim. I travel all across this country of ours. And I check into hotels, and I fly commercially, and I walk into retail establishments, and I order food in restaurants. I go wherever I want, whenever I want. I am treated with kindness, dignity, and respect, literally from coast to coast. I have 3 children. They are not oppressed either, although they are victims. I've taught my children they are victims of 3 things: their own ignorance, their own laziness, and their own poor decision making. That is all. My children, we are not victims of America. We are not victims of some unseen 190-year-old force that kind of floats around in the ether. Putting critical race theory into our classrooms is taking our nation in the wrong direction. Racism in America would by and large be dead today if it were not for certain people and institutions keeping it on life support. And sadly, very sadly, one of those institutions is the American education system. I can think of nothing more damaging to a society than to tell a baby born today that she has grievances against another baby born today simply because of what their ancestors may have done 2 centuries ago. There is simply no point in doing that to our children. And putting critical race theory into our classrooms in part does that. Putting critical race theory into our classrooms is not combating racism, it's fanning the flames of what little embers are left. I encourage you to support this resolution. Let racism die the death it deserves, and let's keep living the life of the country that we love. Thank you.
So once again, it is not just white people that oppose CRT. You hear this all the time from the Democrats trying to kind of conjure up a false narrative of what's happening, and it's just not true. It's simply not true at all. But the other thing that I like about what this guy is saying is that, you know what? I tell my children they are victims. Victims basically to their own problems, their own issues that they themselves are responsible for. What he's basically saying is that or advocating for really is personal responsibility, which is something that a lot of us have always been trying to push on people to understand that, listen, if you make bad decisions in life, you're probably going to have a bad life. If you make very good decisions in life, you're probably going to have a pretty good life. It's very simple. But what you can't consistently do is blame others for all of your problems all the time and expect to somehow be able to get out of that situation. And he's also pointing out the child abuse that's also involved as a result of this. I mean, that's a part of this as well, is that you're literally telling innocent children that they have these ills towards one another because of something that they didn't even choose, right? That they never had any power over, that nobody has power over, that they're automatically guilty of these things, automatically oppressed by these things on both sides. It is incredibly evil to do that to innocent children that haven't done anything. Once again, this racism stuff isn't just acquired naturally in the environment. It is taught. It is taught to these students, and the schools are responsible for it. They're keeping it alive. They think they're fixing the situation, but that's not how you do it. But the left's solution to everything is to try and just insert it into everything. Just try and get it inserted into all of the institutions, and somehow that's going to fix every situation. The problem is that they also do it through lies. I mean, that's what CRT is about. It's an absolute lie, the entire setup around everything. You know, the left also tries to do this when you think about it with, say, the poor. I mean, they'll say, oh, well, there's poor people, so let's give them welfare. Let's give these people welfare, and that'll fix the situation. Except then you create a welfare state where people just are like, hey, this is fine. I'm fine living this way and collecting food stamps. No problems here. I just want to get a job. And then so they wind up exacerbating the issue. They do the same thing as well with race, and when we look at reparations or any of these things like that, where they try to push these policies that we know are only going to simply hurt the people that they're trying to help in the first place. That's what they've always done with everything, and this is no exception whatsoever. This clip from the William Hall Show is sponsored by the Second Amendment Jerky Company. This is a company founded on a simple idea: make the best beef jerky available and donate to the efforts and organizations that help support the Second Amendment. And let me tell you, this is awesome beef jerky. No gimmicks. Go to 2ajerky.com to support the Second.